You're not capable of even leading people truthfully to Christ. It's only the Holy Spirit that can do that. And sometimes that requires a surrender. God did what he does best, and that is being God in the situation. Pumlani found Christ.
I bought the biggest Bible ever.
And bought the biggest Bible.
Like, when you're driving and you're thinking, but it was like a movie, like everything I'd done, all the parties, all the bad things I'd done. And I asked myself this question, is this the life I want to live? I was like, no.
Welcome to it. This is Love, Marriage and Family Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. This is, of course, Mo. And I'm joined by this beautiful, vivacious
wife of his, wife of your youth.
Her name is Pindi.
I think I need to get there, guys. I always see people going, wife of my youth. So that I think you need to start going.
Wife of my youth.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I think I'll say that.
This is a wife.
I'm not very cheesy, but
wife of his youth. Welcome, family. It's so good to be here. We're excited to be bringing you another very exciting episode, I believe.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for the love. Thank you for your subscriptions. We are actually on hashtag road to 50,000.
You're counting, I'm not even counting.
Subscribers. So
Nice.
keep on subscribing. We are really, really excited. We see the platform is growing. Thank you for your likes, for your comments, for your shares, and for everything. I think we're getting so many input on the podcast.
Yeah.
And really, you guys are telling us, what you love about this particular podcast. And we are certain that you will definitely love this family that we are bringing you this time around.
And of course, it is none other than the Njilos. Ladies and gentlemen, the couple that we're bringing you today, they are together in business, among other things. And we're going to, unpack their life, just now. But her name is Ayanda, and his name is Pumlani. They're from Pietermaritzburg, originally. And they are a married couple, lovely. You guys been married for 12 years, right?
Yes.
12 years. And I see, I know a thing or two.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to it, guys. This is Love, Marriage and
Welcome.
Family. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having us. And we're looking forward to the session and then unpacking what God has done through our lives.
Amen. Amen.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're going to start. Okay, where do we start? Okay, because one thing I know about you, Pumlani, you are from PMB.
Yeah.
But I think I never really got to know where
So mjamang bapang amina.
Ayanda uzoyikhulumela. I know you from PMB, definitely that I know, but I think I've always been curious about your wife. Okay, where did these two meet? Especially because I think you guys have such a common purpose when it comes to business, which is so amazing because you don't just get there. You know, there's work that goes into you getting to that point. But before we get into that, please introduce yourself, Ayanda. This is Njilo.
Where do I look? Is that
No, look first.
Okay, hi everyone. Hello to the viewers. My name is Ayandilo, and I am originally from Pietermaritzburg as well.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
So I'm from Maritzburg. I'm from Mbali. Township.
Okay.
Yes.
That's Maritzburg through and through.
I'm telling you. So I'm a township girl. And I love that about myself. I was raised by my mother and my grandmother and my aunts.
Oh, wow.
I grew up in a woman-led household. So, grew up around very strong women, very fashionable women, women who had it together. And then, I studied Maritzburg and even varsity. I went to UKZN.
Oh, yeah.
I UKZN Pietermaritzburg.
Yeah. So, Maritzburg.
You know what? I actually had plans to leave, but my mom felt it was best for me to stay, and she allowed me to live at Res.
Okay.
And so she would pop in every once in a while to make sure I wasn't misbehaving. So I studied law at UKZN.
Okay.
And then moved to Durban 2012. At the start of my articles with ENS.
Okay.
And then, now we're here in Joburg.
That's interesting.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And obviously, Maritzburg, but obviously at that time, I'm sure. Where did you guys meet? Where did it all begin for you? Because kunesisho sithi induku enhle igawule ezizweni.
And you guys niyayiphikisa yonke le.
Loosely translated. Please translate that.
Induku enhle igawule ezizweni. Bayazi.
Ayazi umuntu from Botswana uzongibuza ukuthi yini leyo.
Gosh, guys, we've got people from all over the place.
Please say what is induku enhle because they will complain, I know.
What is induku enhle igawule? I know what it means, but I'm not going to translate it.
Direct translate. Like, in order to get a good wife, you need to find them very far.
That's loose. That's very loose, but you know.
But that's what it means.
Yeah.
But for you, you were like, mina I'm
Ngizogawula la.
ngizogawula la embali la. Eceleni kwasendlini.
Yeah, I'm from Maritzburg as well.
Yeah.
We met during our matric exams. We were writing maths, I think. And then one of my friends, we were doing a study group at their place, at his place actually. And then I remember he said to me, no, there is a girl around the area. Apparently he said it was his girlfriend that we can get a calculator from. And it was Ayanda. So we walked to Ayanda's house and she comes walking across. I'm like, hey, is Ikamalako Romeo? I always share this story and he doesn't mind. I asked him, Romeo, umuntu wakho ngampela lo.
I was going to ask, which is Romeo still your friend?
Romeo is
No, he's a plug. No, man, that guy, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have found her. Yeah.
Were you dating?
No.
Okay.
We were
Why
not.
it began?
Number 5, number 5, yeah. Yeah, and she gave us the calculator. I'm like, and then hey, interrogate, hey manje. No says no umuntu and I always share the story that when we were studying, so he leaves his phone and he goes into his bedroom or somewhere. Then I take his phone, then I steal her number from his phone.
Okay.
That's how much she had mesmerized me.
Yeah.
So I take his number and then I think I gave her a call. I said, Upumlani, remember the guy who came to borrow a calculator?
And how about Romeo?
No, Romeo played his part.
We friend got Romeo lo, you know. Manje some part of Romeo at all. But naye, funny enough, naye akakhulumi ngoRomeo, ne?
No, she didn't. Yeah.
No, but you know what? It actually took us a while. It took him a while because he had to pursue me first.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a girl that you have to pursue.
No, I love that.
Yeah, so
I
he pursued me for a while and then eventually I also fell.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like,
Yes.
let's do it now.
No, it wasn't just
Yeah.
yes. Because I got the number, started pursuing, then in varsity. I think then we started talking. Then she remembered me in varsity. She needed a lift and she knew that I was driving one of my parents' cars. What's number that car?
Like, okay, well.
Please come pick me up at Rez. I need to go to the mall. Then I picked her up. And then I think things started flowing. And then she wanted to learn how to drive. Like she burnt the clutch.
What an introduction to the family.
I taught her. So it took long. I taught her how to drive. Then after that, after such a long time, then finally, she gave in.
She said yes.
She said yes. And how long a time was this though? Not when you said yes, but I mean, I'm talking the dating time. You guys are 12 years married now. So how long a time was that?
That was back in 2007 when we met. And I think you pursued me probably the first half, if not just a little bit. Yeah, a year. 2008. Yeah, that was his pursuit.
Had to get
you know, you have to work hard, eh?
Oh man, that's so cool. And so the dating process obviously began.
Yes.
And that lasted for how long?
We dated, I think, for like 3-4 years.
Okay. 4 years.
4 years, about 4 years.
Because it was a mess. I was unsaved. She was saved. It was like a roller coaster.
So she was busy praying for you.
So we would break up and make up,
Also, obviously, you know, the makeup, break up, and whatever. So, and why?
I think it just becomes complicated, because he's unsaved, I'm
Yeah.
saved. And at the time, our values were very different.
You were conflicted.
Yes,
Yeah.
very conflicted.
Yeah.
But I thought he was a lovely guy.
Gotcha.
But
Yeah, because I gave you my mom's car.
You know? Why is she
messed it up.
taught me how to drive. I mean, really. So yeah, I think it was just a value clash at the time. Yeah.
So were you saved at that time?
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
Because I remember being saved was such a nice and easy way of dumping someone.
Yeah.
I remember I used this question quite a lot. When you tell someone, "Sengisindisiwe," so I can't be with you anymore. And boys will be like confused. Okay, so what does
So
it
what?
mean?
Yeah, it's like you were there. Like I was so confused. So we date, right? Then obviously I pull her back on my side, take her to clubs now and again.
Yes.
Then finally enough, every time in the morning she'll wake up and pray. I thought it was so weird.
Yeah.
Like now I remember she was repenting. So it goes on. And then till one day she invites me for lunch. I remember it was at Wimpy. She sits me down, orders the biggest meal ever.
Yeah.
See, like it's one of those normal dates. And she says, no, we can't do this anymore. I'm like, man, it's one of those ones.
Yes.
Then she says to me, because God said to me, you're not the guy for me, I've got a better guy. No, I've got a better guy for you in the future.
Yeah.
I was like, no. And at that time she was praying for like, Lord, is this the guy?
Yeah.
Then God said to her that I'm not the guy.
Yeah.
And finally the Njilos saved girl came out.
Yeah.
And she left me. And I remember so confused. Who's this God?
Yeah.
Oh,
She actually left.
She left.
I did.
And she left. And she left. And then lucky again, and thank God during that time, like I wanted to understand who's this God? And I found God during that time. And I remember on the way driving to Durban, like my life played. Like it was like a movie, like thinking about my life. Then I was like, is this the life I want to live?
Yeah.
And inside of me I was like, no. This is not the life, the colorful partying life. No.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then there's a guy that she had introduced me to. His name was Ukuma Vabaza. Man, I'm so grateful for
As
this
a
guy.
potential.
No, like a
Just
safe
as a
friend.
friend.
Like one of those
Okay,
church friends. I didn't
okay.
like that guy, man. Hey, I'm telling you, man, yo. Hey, but funny enough, when
She
this
was trying, man.
she was trying
trying,
to
you
man. Yeah, I'll come to church late, and he says, no, sit with this guy, and And funny enough, I find out it later on when me and
Wait,
Kuma.
funny meant.
No, Kuma and I, when he's married and stuff, we sit down. No, now he wanted her and I as well.
Oh, Lord of mercy.
Okay, that was a mess.
It was a mess.
That was a mess. Because I'm sure now you come
Now uyafuna kumcleana lo muntu but nami ngiyafuna. It was like a mess, yeah.
Wow,
Cut a long story short, when the thing plays, I think, no man, let me call this guy Kuma. I explained to him. Then he says, I remember he had like a board meeting because he was a lawyer. He stepped out the meeting, took the call, I'd explained what had happened to him in terms of what I was playing.
Yeah.
And he says to me, Jesus is calling you.
Oh, wow.
What was
He
playing?
just said like my life, like when you're driving and you're thinking,
yeah.
but it was like a movie, like everything I'd done, all the parties, all the bad things I'd done, and I asked myself this question: is this the life I want to live? I was like, no, because I knew where I wanted to go in life. That she knew, I really knew where I wanted to go in life, and I saw this life doesn't align with where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
So I called this guy and I tell him what had happened to Kum, and he says to me, no, Jesus is calling you.
Oh, wow.
He just said that. Then he says, do you want to surrender? I don't want to live this life anymore. Yes. Then there and there on the phone while driving, he led me to Christ.
Oh, wow.
I got saved on the N3 driving to Durban.
Oh, wow.
I think abantu ba ayanda bonke nje bayakusave. I don't know whether this is a coincidence or what. Kale uRomeo.
Yeah.
Kwasuka uRomeo sesiya.
Potential, yeah.
But tell me though,
Crazy.
some of the conflicts, internal conflicts, that especially single people who are dating, and this we find, of course, in church, and I'm talking the kingdom in general.
Yes.
There are a lot of single sisters who want to get married, they want to date somebody, but the brothers aren't saying anything. They are not saying anything, but there's a
step
brother
out,
outside
outside.
there who is busy saying
Knocking.
something.
Yeah.
How do sisters navigate that process?
You know what? I think I can only speak for myself and my experience because I think our experiences are different. I think for me, when I came into varsity, initially the culture swallowed me, Also, if you look at the fact that I was introduced to Pumlani, and he was out there partying and so that was my initial introduction to varsity. But I think with time, I remembered myself, and the way that I was raised. And I was like, you know what? I don't think that this is what I want for myself. I love the guy, but I love God more. And I trust him more, than what I can do for myself. And if this is not it, then I'm prepared to surrender it. That's what I did, I surrendered it to God, and I knew in my heart that dating an unsaved person is ungodly, and so based off that, I made the decision. It wasn't easy, but I feel it was the right decision.
Yeah, but for us, like we always advocate that, for Uguti, you mustn't date an unsaved person because like I nearly swallowed it up. Like sometimes you think Angzom brothers.
It actually it's easy for you to be swallowed up.
Yeah,
more,
it is. Yeah, it's easy.
It's always easier because, I always think of an analogy of if you climb on top of the table and I stand at the bottom of the table, even if you are stronger than me, it's much more easier for me on the ground to pull you down than there is for you to pull me up to the table.
I'm taking that. And I'm going to coach you once. I said, Umo once said, then after that, it's mine. I'm going to coach you once.
So
But you know how preachers are. A guy once said.
That guy once said.
Hey, you know the speakers.
You know the speakers,
The third time,
I said,
Hey, guys.
I was thinking this morning.
And the thing about the unequal yoke, and this actually, I'm wanting us to sit on it a little bit. Because there are a lot of young people who watch our channel and they are believers, and some of them who may be stuck in this particular space. And with them in mind, we need to address that issue of unequal yoke, because the issue of unequal yoke, and which is what I want you to speak to, it isn't just an issue between a believer and a non-believer, but also two believers. Someone who, on the other hand, the sister is speaking in tongues, she spits fire, she's Bible-toting, she is, you know what I'm saying? Ngale, the brother is saved, but the brother, lukewarm, just comes in and out of the church. So that also maybe, can we speak on that in terms of the importance of us being aligned, spiritually, insofar as?
I think for me, it all boils down to an issue of trust and a trust in God, because I was young at the time, and I did want to be in a relationship. But did I trust God enough concerning my future and the person that he would have for me? And I think I swayed more to, I trust him and what he can do for me more than what I can do for myself. And I'm so glad I did, because it was in that Upumlani found Christ for himself. I don't think that we can fix people. I think
we are not capable of.
You're not capable. You're not capable of even leading people truthfully to Christ. It's only the Holy Spirit that can do that. And sometimes that requires a surrender. And you can only get to a place of surrender if you trust. And I think as young people, we want to do things ourselves. You think, oh my gosh, time is running out. I have to. But God has the best. And I think for me, as I say, when I surrendered the relationship and I went back to Christ, God did what he does best, and that is being God in the situation.
Yeah.
Pumlani found Christ.
I bought the biggest Bible ever.
And bought the biggest Bible.
Came to her church. Ngena nabafundisi, yeah.
Got baptized.
In front of her.
And that was his journey. I had to walk mine. And I think my journey was surrender and trust, and his was finding Christ. And that I didn't have to, force Jesus down his throat.
Okay.
But watch this. The first time the Holy Spirit speaks to me, that time I didn't know what it was, but now I know. Holy Spirit says, now I have transformed you into the perfect guy I had for Ayandilo. Remember when she broke up for me?
Yes, because there was a guy for her.
The guy for her.
No, it was not that guy. It was this
Now
guy.
it's this one.
Reborn. Born again.
That's so
Do you
powerful.
know
That's
what
so
we
powerful.
miss it,
Crazy.
guys?
That's so
That
powerful.
is so powerful because another guy could have meant another
person.
another human
but it was
being.
spiritual land.
But it's this person, but having been transformed, which
Being
is
born again.
born again, which
The
is
old is
amazing.
gone and the new had come.
Yeah, and I think for me, when he came back and said that, I needed to go back into my prayer closet and confirm if he was really,
That's right.
if he was really it. Because, I remember at that time I had been offered, I had my dream job at ENS in Johannesburg.
Yeah.
And I had always wanted to move to Johannesburg as a
Yeah.
young person, just dreaming of being in the big city and out of the township, working for Africa's largest law firm, earning, the highest in terms of
Yeah.
what the legal fraternity has to offer. And, the decision then to stay with Pumlani meant I had to restructure that. In terms of my goals and
Your
my dreams, yes. And so I had to be sure. I had to be very
Because you
sure.
can restructure for the wrong people.
Exactly, and I wasn't willing to
Yeah.
give that up for something that was led by the flesh, And so I received confirmation from Christ. And I was still in a bit of a predicament because then I was like, okay, then what happens to the job, And I remember ENS actually asked me, would you be interested to move to our Durban office? And I was like, what?
Now uNkulunkulu
know,
structures things.
and I was like, okay, does it mean I get disadvantaged in terms of what I earn? And they were like, no.
They just opened up,
Yeah, they had just opened the Durban office.
Imagine.
And so we were part of the pioneers, basically, of them being in Durban. And that's how we settled in Durban.
Yeah.
And you see when you leave everything in God's hands.
Yeah.
I was
He just
going to say,
orchestrates
when you
everything.
trust God, guys, when you completely trust
Completely,
God,
yes.
this is what He's able to do,
Yeah.
even to open other parts
Yes.
that were not even part of the picture. So the decision now to take things a step further. Now you have confirmed, okay, Lord, this is
It's
the one.
him.
It's Him. Because I
Yes.
like that you mentioned that you had to go back and confirm for yourself.
Yes.
Because I think we've been in church long enough to see good women of God falling for saved,
Wolves in
you
sheep.
brothers.
In peace, yeah.
And then later on you realize, the brother actually was playing along, So I'm glad that God confirmed for you. So the decision now to take things further, to say, okay, you know what? This is the one. We are going ahead, and we're becoming a family. How did that come about?
So I think it speaks to what Mo was saying, just to kind of lead back to the unevenly yoked stuff. I think the first step of being, evenly yoked had been done. With now I'm saved, now she's saved. Now we can start building. I think that's the foundation of it. So both of you have to be saved in order to build. Both of you have to be so in order to don't say because being unevenly yoked is let's trust the Holy Spirit. Let's go to church. Let's go to Inyanga. It's like a mess, And funny enough, there are some of those households, anjalo, and we might take it for granted because we do have it. So we tick the first box. It's okay. Listen, we evenly yoked now, and then the people at church played a big role. Because now, listen, you kind of like fat and set what's going on. You got an apartment. Now, then they played a big role. Said, no, I think now you need to take a step and get married. So our what do we call it?
They were pastors at the time.
Pastors at the time, but we were accountable to them.
Yes.
We were accountable to them. Then they advised us, no, guys, get married. Now, this is the part, we always share this, and I hope it doesn't get wrong. So, now we're young. I think we're 22, turning 23.
Yeah.
Like, now I've got the biggest Bible. I'm
Where's your biggest Bible?
like umfundisi Bible. I had like you think I'm the pastor, like And then, man, we decided, you know what? We went to our parents. You know how parents are. You're still young. You're still ban. What are you doing? We had gone through so much. So we sat down together. We said, you know what? We'd rather honor God first. So we eloped.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Eloped. We packed our bags, took a flight to Cape Town, put our pastors in a flight to Cape Town. One of my friends with Dion Ratnam was going to be a witness. I put him on a flight to Cape Town. And we got married on top of Table Mountain.
Wow.
Yes, we did elope. But we still did honor our parents. It's just when everything else happened, like in Tozo, Malobola, Numembe, so we were already married.
We had already honored God.
But
sometimes it might have to, but we share it,
Okay, I understand.
Because you have to honor your parents.
So we felt honoring our parents was important, and me we both actually Zulu. So in Toyama Lobola, it's a big thing. It's significant. So we did do all of that.
Okay.
We did also go through Umembeso and whatnot. But it's just that by the time all of that happened.
This is husband and wife.
Yes.
Everybody. So man elope to Cape Town. You don't invite family, I suppose.
No.
So it's just your pastor and the
witness.
I hope the parents recovered.
They did.
Sometimes, we said, God, we're honoring you.
Yes.
So you make it work. So we got back from Cape Town, and funny enough, he softened their hearts.
Wow.
He softened their hearts. From a no.
Yeah.
To Benenzani, to okay, let's do things around.
But I think by that time they had probably established okay, kunothandula, because initially it was you guys are young, what's going on, I'm sure na bantu baganjilo babengibuka like sideways table. Who's this, and so, but with time I think they realized, okay, these two people are in love, and I think when they realized that, they were very accepting. So it was a case of it. I don't think from their side they were being difficult. They were just coming from a place of concern and understanding. Obviously, umshado is a long-term commitment, and you're 22 years old
and not sure if you're ready for it.
Yes, like just date, continue dating. Kunani, like why do you have to get married?
And obviously the pressure that even abazalwane sometimes would place on people that are dating, because there's also that pressure, that hey, guys, and all without obviously considering all those background information, and all of that. How did you guys have that kind of pressure?
Kind of, but not really. Not really.
Because I think we were still so very young.
I think so. Yeah.
So I don't think anyone was forcing us. It was just like, just date if you can. I mean, we met at the age of 18.
I think it was early days.
Yes, it was still for that.
Okay.
So everyone was like, okay, you've just found someone, you can date him until, and then when you're 30, you can. Even by the time you're 25, you would have broken up. Who knows? And then suddenly we're like, no, we want to get married. We want to live together forever. And
Yeah, but another thing is, you find in terms of abantu abamnyama, especially like Zulu people, because I understand the tradition is Zulu.
Yeah.
It's so expensive. guys.
To get
Yeah, it
married.
is.
People want to get married, but they rather fight and set because now it is like so expensive. So our story has helped like a lot of people. Like in the next 2 weeks, we actually marrying a couple who's doing a similar thing, but with their parents involved.
Got you. Yeah.
They're just gonna come to the church, sign, and then plan for their big wedding. You know, Ayanda, she told me what kind of wedding she wants, and I've told her I can't afford it as yet.
At this point,
So maybe when you celebrate 15 years, then I'll give her her grand wedding that she
That's
was.
so awesome, man.
With everything, because we've worked for it.
Yeah.
We are working towards it, you know,
Yeah.
and it's so good. Sometimes with him, you guys get together and then you plan this thing together, you
so
build
good.
it together, you
That's so
save for
good.
it. But abazali manje on the other side, that's where it comes in. Will they understand?
Yeah.
Ukuthi nihambe niyosayina and then nihlale ndawonye and start building together.
Ish.
Thank God for us.
And I think for me, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was willing to forego the wedding because I wanted a home. You know, in terms of priority, I wanted a home of my own.
Oh man. Oh,
So it
man.
means you were beyond, you were 20. You're an old soul, because
Yeah.
most girls at 22, if you had to choose between a home and
Yeah.
a wedding,
The wedding. I want the wedding.
I want the wedding, and the home can follow later. You know,
Yeah.
but that's actually such a good decision, because I think one of the things that we always talk about is the worst that can happen is for you to get married and you spend 7 years and you can't have a home because now you're
All the money.
recovering
From
from that huge wedding that you had.
That's what we speak about.
And now you're frustrated in this wedding now, because obviously you can't get all the things that you need.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and your two daughters
Yes.
came at
Yes.
some point
Yes.
in this union of yours. When does this happen? And obviously it's been the two of you all along.
Yes.
How was that?
I think when Zoe came, Pumlani really wanted kids at that time, you know, and I was still in between Joburg and Durban in terms of my travel and work. And it was I think 4 years into the marriage. Yeah, and it brought a lot of joy and happiness because she was the first of everything, you know, first child with us, first grandchild on both
Was
sides.
she the first grandchild?
Yes,
Oh, wow.
yes. So she brought a lot of joy, a lot of excitement, and then a year after that, I had
few months
Melanie.
later.
A few months
Melanie
later,
comes.
actually.
Yeah, she's trying to be, what's the word? A year later, no, a few months later.
Like nasesibhedlela but what's mina? Weren't you here just a few months ago? Is it the same one? Which I know it's the same woman. That's
We know women like you.
2016,
She
2017.
is that woman, by the way.
My man.
No, guys, let me tell you.
Yes.
Mine was so embarrassing because my daughter's first birthday. So people who are coming for the first birthday, they're coming, they're like, no, man. Are you... Okay, what's going on here? Are we here for the baby shower or for... And I'm like, no, guys, we are here for the child's first birthday. They could not believe it.
Oh, my
Because I was
word.
probably like 8 months pregnant.
Oh, you're showing it.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm already shocked.
Immediately
So,
after.
listen.
It was the 6-week gap thing.
Ah,
It was not 6 weeks.
So by a fig again, they coming. Every guest that came was like, "Hey, you need to explain what's going on here, because honestly, we're confused."
Yeah.
So I think you had one of those.
I did.
You know.
You know, and so obviously with the joy of having your kids grow up together,
Absolutely
Right.
love
That
it.
is so beautiful.
unmatched. There's nothing to match it with.
Absolutely love it.
But what that comes with is a responsibility on you
Yeah.
as parents, because now, unlike a parent who, or like parents, even if you're a couple, who will, raise a child, one child at a time. You now have to raise two kids at the same time. How is that work? How did that work for you, especially impacting on the relationship? Because what that comes with is you put so much attention on the children, and you forget about this. And even more so when you've got other children like business and so forth, that is out there. How do you guys navigate that?
I always always say I don't know what it feels like to have one child because I've always had two kids from as long as I can remember. I think one thing is we're very blessed in the sense that, with Pumani and I, we just get on with whatever's been thrown at us, We're not overly complicated in the way that we maneuver through our marriage. And so I think the same thing has been even with our kids. Yeah. It's like, okay, we've got 2 kids, so we need to deal with it. And I think for the earlier season, in relation to our kids growing up, I was mothering a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
And he was, because he was between Joburg and Durban, and so I was doing every single thing relating to motherhood, and my husband was on the go, making sure that the family is taken care of and we're comfortable. And that worked for us, So it wasn't complicated in any sense, unless maybe at that time you were like, where's my wife? And I think now as our kids grow up, and we are all in one city, for the first time, now we get to parent together, now we get to go to the matches together. Some days I get to sleep in because he's driving, he takes the kids to school, he picks them up, and so I think with us, we just kind of work. In relation to like raising the children, we've never really had like it's never been one of those things where we like tug of war.
Yes.
I don't know.
And I think we never sat down and discussed it. Like, she
just
took maternity leave and took care of the home, and I was out, trying to make sure that there's a roof over our heads, the bills are paid for, and it worked out for us. And I think because now I allowed her that space, when she came back to working now, then I really appreciated, what she brought as well when it came to Umsebenzi. Because remember, it was just me alone. It was just me alone for a very long time. Because the 2 kids, remember now, they're a few months apart. And then all of a sudden, when she came back now, into the jungle, so to say, to the concrete jungle, so to say, then I really appreciated it. Oh, okay, no. Now, kukhona isandla sifakayo, But I think when I was doing it alone, it wasn't tough. It was fine. But I really appreciate it. But I'm trying to sometimes as a man you feel like ubambe yonke into. But then when she came back, funny enough, now I'm thinking about it, I really felt that it's uyasifaka nayo isandla. There's
My wife
something
is
there.
back.
My wife is back.
He that finds a wife finds a good thing.
Yes.
And obtains
favor from the Lord.
That's it.
Which is exactly what
That's
you got there. But I want to talk about talking about business. The decision for you guys to get into business together.
Leave ENS.
Yes.
Because that was your dream job.
Yes.
You finally got your dream job, but here was this other job on this other side. What did it take, and how was that journey of trying to do something together as a couple? Because I think it's one of the things that I kind of got to know you of, the two of you, how you are so, how it's so easy for you, when you're working together.
Or at least make it look easy.
Because you never to the other side. Stop it, Ayandilo. But you make it look so easy. But I think I just wanted to get into that decision. How did you get to that decision, especially because you had your own thing going on the side and you loved it.
Yes.
And it was a dream for you to get there. How did you change and really...
And pivot into entrepreneurship? So I was at ENS and then my boss poached me. And then so we then owned a law firm of our own. And then while I was there, Pumlani poached me.
You mean the two of you?
No.
The boss resigned.
The boss resigned.
Yes.
I get it. Got it.
And then while I was doing that, Pumlani's like, I think it's time for us to build, our empire together. And that took me 2 years to finally jump ship. And I'm so glad it did. clearly I'm not a woman that you can see things take
Yeah.
time with me.
The other one took a year, and this one 2 years.
Yeah, I think I take my time when
Yeah.
it relates to important decisions, because I'm the type of person that when I'm in, I'm all in, you know. So my mentor at the time advised me, and I think based off that advice, I needed to be sure and I needed to be secure, you know, because it's exciting. You going into entrepreneurship, and that's the side that I was looking at it from. And she helped me to say, hey, actually, there's another side to it, you know. And so I spent those years preparing for that. And then when I was ready, I resigned.
Sure.
And then my husband became my CEO.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't need to ask you how has that been.
Yeah. Mixing
So-
business with pleasure.
Yes.
Oh man.
No, yeah, I'm sure that we love that. But I know that Pumlan, you come from a very a business orientated whatever family. Was this your own business that you guys were getting into, or was it building in like a family business?
Yeah. So this particular business, my father started it in 1998. He goes into politics in 2016, and then I kind of take over the business. Then when my wife was about to come on board, we decided, no, let's open up our own thing.
Venture into your own.
Our own brand. So we opened up our own company, and then she came on board, and then the family business still carries on. My sisters and everyone is still there.
Okay.
And then my wife and I, we opened up our own thing. And looking back, you know, I'm so grateful she said yes. If it wasn't for her, honestly speaking, I don't think this business would be where it is now.
Yeah.
You know, the
You've
role
got
that
a
she's
lawyer
played.
on your side.
I think I've got a lawyer on my side. Yeah, you know, I've got a lawyer on my side. I don't have to pay for this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, she's played such a big role. You know, sometimes obviously I'm the face, I'm the CEO, but, you know, behind the closed doors, she really brought the corporate hygiene. She structured things. And she made the business what it is today. And I'm very grateful for that. You know, I grew up, my mom and dad, Besebens and Dawani, they were like, they work together.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted that. I always tell her that even when I was growing up, I always wanted to marry the smartest girl in my business economics, what you call this class, lecture room. I was the prettiest one. Take you, we open a business together, that's it.
Yeah.
And funny enough, you know, when she said yes, and that came to fruition. And we built this thing together, you know. And I've allowed her to, you know, to kind
be
of
myself.
to be herself in the business. You know, you know, she's come up with great ideas. You know, she's led many projects. She's, you know, been in the forefront in
She's
in
amazing.
many
Oh,
things.
thank you.
Yeah. But because now I trust her, you know, she.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes, you know, when you partner with someone, you need to partner with someone Temba, number one.
Yes.
But you have to bring something to the table.
Yeah.
You have to. I know sometimes
just a
you know,
pretty face.
Not just a pretty face. Honestly speaking, I know sometimes it's tough to say, but honestly, you have to bring something to the table, because you might bring someone into your business, and I've seen many guys, you know, get married to the wrong person, bring them in the business, and everything just goes. You know. Yeah, and I mean, on my side, you know, as you said, you know, he who finds a wife, you know, I received so much favor from God, and the business just grew after she came on board, and and I'm extremely blessed.
And in terms of the, obviously the interest would be, you guys are in mining, still in mining.
Yeah, we've got mining.
You are in the funeral business.
Insurance.
Insurance?
Insurance.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
insurance. So
Yes,
it's now sort of
broadened.
broadened. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks to her.
And wena ufuna ukungcwaba nje. Uzali la
He was
so
fine. Guys, Pumlan ubeka right and you know?
then we broaden it. So those are the two. Are there other?
Yeah. Mainly,
Those are the
Mainly,
main.
There are
yeah.
small other ventures that we do,
Yeah.
but those are the main core business. It's mining, finance, and
Funerals.
Yeah.
Oh wow, man, that's so cool. And in terms of, but I mean, the is there somewhere, because this looks so different? Is there somewhere they meet? When you talk about mining, it seems like there's a path on its own. And when you talk about the financial company, it's also kind of on its own. How do you guys pull it together? You know what I mean? Because
I think he does the mining stuff, and I'm more I'm
finance
more
and
funeral
funeral.
and
so maybe to put it properly, it came to a point whereby I was in both places then, And I could see, she's really performing. And then we sat down and says, no, you run with the funeral finance and insurance, then I'll run with the mining. And
but he's still my CEO.
You will always be your CEO.
But she always asks me, when are you going to step down? And I think 2 weeks ago, she asked me actually this question. So, baby, you said you're going to step down. Nini, when are you going to step down?
Ayanda, what is your problem?
You know what? In my life, I've had 3 bosses.
Yeah.
And my husband has given me a lot of freedom.
Okay.
To express myself fully, allow me to be strong in the places where I am strong and not to ever feel guilty about that.
Yeah.
Or intimidate. I don't feel like I intimidate him, I think he loves it when I shine. And I love being led by somebody like him.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Because I think there's it takes certain types or kinds of people to be able to do business as a couple.
It's very true.
And
It's not for everybody.
it's not for everybody because there are people who can't separate. I mean, the way you call him your CEO and there are people who find it difficult to separate the two. Basically, the husband, Pumlani the husband and Pumlani the CEO. And I think you have been able, to separate those two
By God's
very
grace.
nicely. How do you do that? Because at the end of the day, the CEO is the one that you go home with, and home issues are home issues, and you need to deal with home issues, and there's work issues. So how do you sort of refine this line between CEO and hubby?
I think we naturally get along as 2 individuals.
Not all the time.
Not all the time.
Naturally.
But we do get along.
Naturally.
Yeah.
And where we butt heads,
Yeah.
because I think I'm also very strong-willed.
I cannot imagine that, but it's okay.
Yeah.
And my husband is also very strong-willed on his side. But again, I think it's just one of those where we've been graced for it.
Yeah.
We deal with issues head on.
Yeah.
We are not people who sweep issues under the carpet. So if there's a work issue, it will be dealt with at work at that particular point in time or on that day. And then we're able to get past it so that by the time we get home, we come home to each other,
It's not reminding me of what you did at work.
No.
That's one area where a lot of couples fail you.
Yes, true.
The one, as Peter was saying, when you are unable to separate and you bring boardroom issues into the bedroom, as well, and that kind of becomes murky because now you can't separate between the two. It's something that is very real for many couples, and there are a lot of couples who are running their own businesses, and at that point things fail because I can't. I take it like my frustrations at home. Now, if I take my frustrations to work, at home, and I'm unable to draw the line, you should understand. Yeah. Whereas if I had a CEO who I'm not related to, there wouldn't be that expectation that you understand. So I would get to work and do what I need to do, and go home and do what I need to do at home. And I guess the issue there is on separating, between these two, so that you are able to say, okay, that is work. Fine. Sometimes you may bring a laptop to the bedroom because there are deadlines to be met. There's, you know what I'm saying? There are presentations and all of that, but it's not the characteristic of the of the family in terms of how are you guys managing that to actually draw that and paint a clear picture around family and business.
So I think with us, at first, that's a very, very, very good point that you're sharing there, by the way. And I think it really has been the demise of some business or most, couples trying to come together. A lot, let me put it this way, you are trying to come together. I think for us for example, the IBF business, we have a meeting every morning with our staff, right? And you know, as parents, there's kids as banning. You're gonna clash.
Yeah.
So I guess in every meeting, right? I'll be honest with you. It's usually on teams because we've got teams all over the place. So then she'll get on her teams. I'll get on my teams, right? And then angizwe kancane ahlaba CEO
This is personal, imagine.
and then I'll quickly send a WhatsApp.
He'll send me messages.
I'll send the messages on
Like,
the side.
you better stop
You
that.
better stop doing it. So it's not easy. Also, no husband, and sometimes even staff members, they won't understand, but they'll come in, but no, but Mom Njilo, you shouldn't. But then I think one day we sat down, we started to know, you know what, we should definitely separate. We shouldn't bring our issues to business. That's number one. Number two, we should never fight in public. Number three, we should never fight in front of our kids. So those things, we haven't been intentional about them, but this isn't that you should do about it. They think it just happen naturally. They don't. So we had to sit down and put those points down. It's okay. This is a no. So we drew the line on the sand. And then funny enough, now she'll be the angriest woman in the morning at me, but call me CEO, the nicest COO in the meetings. My value phone, they're not dealing.
I'm going to get back to you after this call.
So we have, but it hasn't been easy. And I think that's why, you know, it's been such an issue in couples or in families that work together in the business, you know, separating between our marriage and the business, you know, because the business is its own institution and its own, and a marriage, the institution on its own as well. So you can't take izinto zakule institution and vice versa. You know, they do not mix. It's like water and oil.
That can be very messy.
That can be very messy.
And then Bill Winston come along.
Yes.
And you are the chairperson now?
I'm the president.
You are the president?
Yes, of the Alumni Association Africa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How did that come along?
So after being in business for about 3 years, I then decided to go to business school.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I think I'm just a scholar by nature. Yeah. So I did business school, and it was from doing business school under the Joseph Business School, because I went to Joseph Business School, that I was just then offered the position. And to which I responded with a yes. Yeah, so that's how that came along.
Oh, wow. Because I thought that was such a a nice feather, you know, on your cap. And well done for
Thank
that.
you very much.
And just your
For me, the other continue with her and then
go ahead,
you good.
baby.
Okay, for me, the other feather
my
for me,
CEO.
the other feather for me.
Yeah, marriage on the side.
We'll talk about this outside. So for me, the feather, because I'm really we're getting close to the finish. On the social side, boxing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And your first fight with Big Big Zulu, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, Ayanda, this is Big Zulu.
Yeah.
Like big.
Sufuni your shout.
It sets up.
That one was
I mean, we watched the thing, but I mean, we know how that went, and we know how the second one went as well. But where I want to get to is, are you looking at, you know, building something there, you know, down the road? Are there things? I know you did put some challenges out to go knock music in them, but is there anything?
Well, this is a serial entrepreneur. You never know. We now have a
Mike Tyson is coming. So how is that? Are you looking at, you know, pursuing something along those?
No, definitely. It was a passion at first. I really loved boxing, and then all of a sudden I found myself, you know, in the ring with Big Zulu. I just got a phone call. Would you want to fight to Big Zulu? I said yes.
You said yes.
No, they told me how much they pay me. I'm a good businessman. Yeah. I was like, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, if it pays, then yes.
Yeah. And then I spoke to my wife, and she really supported it. Really,
Was
really
it an immediate yes from her?
No,
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. Yeah.
This one, obviously, you're nice to think about things first.
I was going to be worried if she was like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
And I got into it, and I won the fight, and then it created a lot of traction socially as well.
A lot, socially.
And then, then I got a call from the president's son, Tumelo Ramaphosa.
Oh, really?
He offered me a fight in Durban as well at the IBA.
Yo.
And I fought another celebrity, some guy who's an actor.
Yeah, it was Kim. Yeah, I
Kim
remember.
Sam,
Yeah.
Fought him, knocked him out. And then recently got a phone call. Funny enough, we were saying on Night Music. I got a phone call. Would you want to fight tonight music? So
when you from Bashaba,
offer and I'm
I want to talented.
Yeah. Oh man, so is that coming up?
It's coming up. It's actually next month. On the 26th of July, Empress Palace. Yeah.
OMG.
Yeah.
Okay, so
You'll
we're
get
on the
tickets,
front
you'll
row.
tickets, yeah.
We're on the front row for that one.
Tickets are coming. Yeah. Empress Palace. Yeah.
Oh my word.
Oh my word.
Yeah, so it's happening. Yeah.
How do you allow him to do that? Let me tell you something. I've got a very sporty son, right?
Yeah.
Recently,
There's nothing he
he
doesn't
plays
play.
everything. He loves soccer the most, but he now plays rugby, cricket, and blah, blah. Suddenly he said, oh, I'm going to be doing boxing today. I was like,
That's my boy.
that one is not going to happen. Because I just cannot stand
the fighting.
watching
him being beat down.
How do you do that?
You know, I think for me, I've realized something, and it came as a lesson.
Yeah.
That marriage is not meant to confine; it's meant to develop you to become your best self.
Say that.
So I think my husband is passionate about it.
Yeah.
And my role is to support him in it, you know, because he supports me in my endeavors and what I believe in. He values health. He values sports, which is not necessarily important to me. You know, I value education. I value leadership, and he supports that. And so I think we've, over time, have, learned that about each other and supported each other in whatever endeavors that help you to become the best version of yourself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Massage and there and there, but at least I was supporting you.
Yeah, I supported you. You wanted to do it, and you did it. If something grows out of it, great.
Yeah.
But it's a passion.
Yeah, but I like how she came in as well in it. She came in and says, we have a vision for this thing. Don't just go in and fight. Where do you want this thing to go? So I wrote it down, who I want to fight, where I wanted to go, what impacts what I wanted to have socially, but also, business-wise as well. With, what kind of, income, because it has to be an income generating,
Of course.
kind of activity, So I call it a hobby that pays because of her, we sat down, we wrote it down, and then funny enough, it's coming to fruition.
Oh, wow.
Let him go fight whoever he wants to fight.
But come
So
back in
long
one
as it
piece.
pays.
As long as you come back
Yeah,
in
she
one
changed the
piece.
contracts and everything, and
Wow. So 26th July, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
26th July.
Empress
Empress
Palace.
Palace.
Be there. Oh my goodness.
Nap music is going down third round.
Also, it's not music, ne?
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be a big one.
That's going to be
Because
quite
he
a
beat Casper.
I remember
Yes.
at Sun
He beat
City. I
Casper,
remember
Sun
Sun
City,
City,
yeah.
yes.
And what goes into that training? Because I can imagine.
Yeah, it's
Phela
hectic,
bethi nasakhula sibuka baby Jack Matlala, guys.
Yeah.
Quite intense.
It used to be intense.
Uvuyani Bungu, Baby Jake Matlala, and the Rose of Soweto.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
okay.
But anyway.
So
One
I've
day
been-
we'll be mentioning no Pumlani Nji.
now we're gonna say no Pumlani Njilos.
Njilos.
So I mean that must be quite intense in
Yeah.
terms of your
The
training.
training preparation
yeah.
for that
It is,
day.
yeah. Yeah, and I remember I have to train in the morning and in the evening.
Yeah.
And then obviously she has to come in and she handles business
Yeah.
during my camp. But it's only for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
It's a 4-week camp. But in those 4 weeks, she handles most of the stuff. Kids and
Yeah.
drop off, picking up.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's 4 weeks of intense.
Intense camp,
yeah.
yeah, because I have to be in camp.
Yeah.
You have to be in camp for
Yeah,
4 weeks.
yeah.
Okay, when you're in camp, you mean what? Away from home? type.
Not away from home, but diet, training,
yes.
running,
Yeah.
and because sometimes you have to lose weight or gain weight, so it's like hectic.
Yes.
So
And lots of fasting.
And prayer
Too. And like, so that whichever that fasting is, No, Pala, you have to fast.
Yeah.
I know that one you have
This is
to.
a family channel, so
That one you have to fast. Kodwa-ke, what I love, iBhayibheli yasho nakhona ukuthi men fast and men vumelene.
Yes.
So what is important is agreement.
Vumelana.
Sivumelene ukuthi family we are fasting for 4 weeks.
For 4 weeks, yeah. Yeah, it's like the best 4 weeks for her. Like, woo, running away.
Oh my word.
Oh my word, guys, our time has run out.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man. What a lovely conversation.
Lovely, thanks,
and I don't know about you, but I mean, certainly when we sit down, Opindi, and we have people that we want to speak to and so on, you guys obviously came up and we're like, but these guys, and we're like, you know what? If we don't have anything to talk about, let's talk about business.
Yeah. Because we thought Pumplan we had tool.
Yeah.
We thought your husband is a quiet guy, and you are the one who talking to you.
No, he's actually the people's person, and I'm very
Introvert.
I'm an introvert.
Introverted.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Calculator.
You know, it's amazing how you got her. But guys, thank you so much.
Oh man,
having
this is so
us.
awesome.
We are so blessed to have had this conversation with you guys.
Yeah.
And man, we've seen your journey, even your spiritual journey. You know, it's beautiful to watch. Now that we know where it started, and someone hearing the Holy Spirit khuluma naye with daughter. If uthi uyamfuna lo muntu, you better change your ways, you know. But God is amazing, and we see the work that He's doing in your guys' lives, and we are really, really blessed. We've had such a wonderful time.
We're watching.
Thanks.
God bless you guys.
Thank you so much
Thank you
for
for
having
having
us.
us.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate.
And wow, that is Love, Marriage and Family Podcast with Mo and Pindi. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for the comments, the likes. Thank you for the subscription. Actually, we always find that people who subscribe are far lesser. And this is the trend with lots of posts globally. That people who subscribe are far, far less, maybe in some standards around generally 20% of people who subscribe versus people who come in and watch and then leave without subscribing. You know, so please do subscribe and let's walk this journey together. Thank you so much for tuning in. May God really, really bless you. Really good.
Till next time, we love you guys.